human life is what we fight for. The necessities for human life are what we fight for, ladies and gentlemen. We, the proposition, step up and now tell you that human lives are in deep danger because of lack of organ donation. And if eyeballs are the necessities for their lives, if lungs are a necessity for their human life, we are going to give them to those people. Now, let's talk about our motion and clarify what we mean by 3 terms. First, mandate. We're going to mandate by opt-out system where we receive every healthy organs unless you do not make an exception. In the status quo, we're doing an opt-in system where if we do not make any exceptions, our organs are not donated currently. Now, by organ donation, we mean the removal of the tissues of the human body from a person who has recently died, only accepting the healthy organs and the productive ones. Now, what we mean by death, ladies and gentlemen, is when the medical team declares that that person has died. Now, moving on to our deeper ground of debate, what do we have in order to, no thank you, sir, in order to support our own case? 3 main ideas. First is about how organ donation is a crucial necessity in the status quo. Second is about the black market issue. And lastly, our wonderful second speaker will come up and talk about the benefits of organ donation. Now, let's talk about the necessity of organ donation. Yes, sir.
How does opt-out policy becomes mandating if it gives a choice?
Because, sir, if you do not approach the government and say, no, I do not want my organs to be taken out, no matter who you are, no matter which status you have, your organs will be donated without exception, unless you step up to the government and deny the fact. Now, no thank you, sir. Now, moving into our constructive case of necessity of organs. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make this in 2 steps. First, the usefulness. Second, about the desperate need of organ donation. First, why is this useful and why is this necessity right now? Because after death, ladies and gentlemen, the corpse do not need organs anymore. Wow, isn't it? No, thank you, sir. Wow, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Because organs are for living people. And organs are not needed when you die because all they do is decompose and become to another dust, ladies and gentlemen. Thus, all of you sit down. Thus, ladies and gentlemen, organ donation, when that people do not need that organs anymore, it is useful to, and it is efficient, it is right to give those healthy organs to the people who are needed in crucial necessity for that. Yes, sir, I'll take yours.
Well, can you actually prove or give an example of how much organ can we get?
Yes, we will get to that point, sir, in our next step, which is that desperate need and urgency of organ donation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's think about Korea, the land we're standing right now. Korea, 200 to 300 donor per year comes up and say that they're going to donate their organs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, compared to that, how many people are in the waiting list of being donated to these organs? Ladies and gentlemen, it's 18,000 people that are in waiting list. Thus, 200 to 300 organs donated per year does not make any change to these people because there are sacrifices, and the problem why? Because there are so less organ donors that approach the government and say that they will donate their organs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 2% among those needed organs patients are receiving their healthy organs and reviving. Meaning that out of 100 patients, only 2 people can have the opportunity to live with healthy organs, meaning that 98 people are being sacrificed because of these lack of organ donators. Thus, we believe in government's eminent domain, that actually government should take the organs for the better need, which we are fighting for, which is the human life, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about our second argument, which is about black market. Let's talk about the major black market characteristic. First, extremely high cost because there are no government control. Second, not guaranteed and not professional products, meaning because of the lack of government control, and fake product comes up. Thirdly, about the health and the procedure problem. Lastly, about the facilities, ladies and gentlemen. Can we really depend on these facilities? We're not sure. Because it's black market, it's something illegal, ladies and gentlemen. Now, thus, because of this organ black market, ladies and gentlemen, what had happened? Organ theft has come up, saying that crime, because organs are now lacking, because organs are very expensive, because it is lacking, ladies and gentlemen, organ theft is coming up, saying that killing these people, killing these innocent people, kidnapping these people, and kill them, take their organs, even though they didn't die as they progress in life, ladies and gentlemen. So thus, what do we think, ladies and gentlemen? We believe in the human life, thus believing that this kind of black market, this kind of organ theft should never be allowed, and believing that these kind of patients, ladies and gentlemen, these patients are in desperate need of living. And we believe dead people should sacrifice for the living people, because living people is pursuing what? For the present and for the future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will want to first. Oh, 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 sorry. Well, then start again. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to first point out that the opt-out policy is a fallacy. Ladies and gentlemen, if in the status quo the problem is that serious, if people are not donating organs to the government, or in this case hospitals, even if they have the opt-out policy, how can they make sure these people are actually gonna donate their organs to the government or the hospital? There has been no source of information how they are gonna encourage or actually make these people give their organs to the government. And also about the black market, ladies and gentlemen, organs are not thing in current technology we can make of. There aren't any organs that we can make of naturally or with our science technology. And because it's not a thing that we can make of, ladies and gentlemen, we don't believe there will be a black market, but actually there won't be any black market occurring. And also, they talked about how people can be kidnapped, how people can be killed, how people can be committed to crime just because to get the organs. But we say we are going to stop this by law, ladies and gentlemen. We aren't irresponsible, no thank you, enough to let this happen. And we believe, therefore, the argument called black market totally false. No, thank you. The government is only looking at the short-term benefits of these kind of policy, but not seeing the long-term, as I'm going to further improve on. Our point of today's debate is that this policy might save lives, but it doesn't save. This policy might, in their perspective, save lives, but in our perspective and in reality, it doesn't in the first place, and it only makes the problem worse. Now, for the first of we'll have 4 arguments to prove this. First argument will be about the role of the government. Second will be about the human dignity and rights. Third argument will be about the inefficiency. Fourth argument will be about the counterproductiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly for the role of the government. By social contract, people give the power to the government, and therefore government has the rights or the power to give taxes, enforce laws, and etc. And we believe that because these powers come from the citizens of the society, ladies and gentlemen, the government have the obligation to protect people's right and freedom. Yes.
So you're saying government's priority is human dignity, not human life?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we will further improve, firstly, as we said, it is ineffective. It won't be able to make a lot of difference in the status quo. And also, it will make it only worse because it is a violation of human rights and dignity, as I'll also say. Now, to continue on to my first argument, ladies and gentlemen, because there is incidents that government mistakes by short term, such as Iraq war, which also was only concentrated on the society or the defense of the society, that they didn't actually think about anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's becoming a huge problem to the national society and America. Like this, government should not be the ones who only are concerned about short-term benefits, but people who should also pursue the long-term benefit for the society. Now, to go on to the second argument about the human dignity and rights. Ladies and gentlemen, what will the citizens think if a government person comes and rips off your mother when she was in an accident or she died? And no, thank you. We believe this because this will happen because in organ donation, the process has to be efficient and fast. There is no time to waste because, as they have just said, as time goes on, no, thank you, it decays and it can't be used. Therefore, there needs to be a fast procedure, no thank you, fast procedure of taking these organs from the body. And what will the families think? Ladies and gentlemen, let's imagine a huge group of family is crying over the person who's dead, and the government person just steps in and says, sorry, we have to get these organs, no thank you, we have to get these organs in process because it might be too late. Ladies and gentlemen, in this kind of situation, the citizens will think, firstly, they cannot trust the government, and secondly, they will have hatred toward the government because they will think that they are not, no thank you, looking at the human right of the person itself and themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, and also the human dignity of the person who's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, human dignity is a thing that should be protected. It shouldn't be a matter in fact of what is better or which is not, no thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe human dignity should be protected in any case, and therefore we oppose to this. And also about another substantial point, ladies and gentlemen, about bodily integrity, which is the inherent life of a person. Bodily integrity is the fact that the government has no right to actually take over one's body, but the ownership of his or her body is himself or herself. And in this case, this is a total violation of human bodily integrity, and we believe that by violating these kind of basic inherent rights, there's nothing for the citizens to pursue for the government or to give the power to the government. We believe these kind of violation of rights is not justified, and as we will further explain, ladies and gentlemen, this policy is ineffective. In conclusion, what have I done for you? I have actually rebutted the case of the government that the opt-out policy is just a way to get out of our argument called human dignity and their freedom, just because, ladies and gentlemen, because there's no enforcement, who will, as they just say the status quo, who will donate their organs to the government, ladies and gentlemen? And our argument argument presented by me was two: role of the government and human dignity and rights. Thank you.
Invite the second speaker of the proposition to the podium.
Should I start? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a very simple question. If you have the opportunity to save a person by just giving up something that you don't need anymore, should you? And this question, we say, is yes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these organs are not used by you after death. Yes, you might like your organs, but when you're a corpse, it does not function for you, and it has ended its necessity. Now, if you can save people, save human lives with that organs, then should you? And we say the answer is yes. Now, going on to rebuttals. The opposition have stated that the opt-out system won't work, but I will tell you that they didn't have done enough research. Because in Britain, the Prime Minister have done a survey and 90% of the citizens said yes to organ donation, and they are willing to donate their organs. But look at the fact that only 25 of this 90% of people that said yes has actually done organ donation. No, thank you, sirs. And are in the organ donor list. Now, what does this prove? It proves that people are willing to do organ donation, but the opt-in system we have in the status quo just does not provoke these people enough so that they goes up to government and does all these stressful procedures and then become an organ donor. Oh, no, thank you, sir. And also, most of the European countries now have the opt-out system because they found out that people are in between. If they don't want to organ, they're not either inside of not wanting to organ donate, no thank you sir, donate organs, or willing to donate their organs. They're in between and they're not fully developed. So what they want to do is to persuade these people to donate their organs. And secondly, about black market. They have said there's no black market because you cannot create organs. But that's a fallacy. Yes.
Well, can you talk about any benefit you will give to the people who donate organs? Because you have never actually taken any opinion about that.
Yes, these organ donors will create a happy and peaceful society by just giving up their organs that are not needed. And these people, these donors, are saving lives. And isn't that a benefit that you have an opportunity to save save a person? And they're saying that's not a gift and that's not a benefit. And that's very selfish, and that's very unrealistic.
More information, sir.
Oh, no, thank you, sir. About the black market, there is black market right now in status quo, such as the kidney village in India. People are very poor in that region, so they give up their kidneys because they can live with only one kidney, and that's a black market, ladies and gentlemen. And also in Russia, one man was, no, thank you, sir, killed and trashed, but their organs was taken by the criminal, and that is a black market, ladies and gentlemen. And firstly, they have mentioned, thank you, sir, about the role of the government. But we say that the role of the government is to save lives. Now, they have also painted you a picture, thank you, sir, about ripping off your mother's dead body in front of the funeral. But that's not the case, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the government officials just don't just go into the funeral and rips off your mother's body. That's not the case. Always, these bodies, when they die, they're taken to hospital because medical surgeons have to prove that they're dead.
More information,
no, thank you, sir. And these organs are taken safely, and they're recovered, and they're filled up. And these families will be proud because if my father had died and donated organs and saved 6 people, then I'll be proud of my dad because my dad did what's right. And also about human dignity, but we say human life is always more important than human dignity. No, thank you, sir. But we do agree that some reasons, such as religious reasons, and people just cannot bear the idea of their corpses getting ruined. And that's why we do the opt-out system. No, thank you, sir. Then that means that if these people are so strongly against organ donation, they can always go up to the government and say, hey, I don't want to be an organ donor. And going on to my constructive argument, well, thank you, sir. I'll talk about the benefits. Firstly, the donor. They're sending out the message that the opportunity to save another person is a gift, and they're making a peaceful society and a harmonious society. Well, thank you, sir. These donors have nobly saved these recipients' lives. These recipients who receive these donors are saved by these donors. And they remember their hardships and pain they went through and how they were saved by these donors and the gratitude towards these donors. And what becomes is that these recipients that have gotten these organs from the donors donate their organs that are useful and functioning because they have felt the gratitude to these donors. And the love and peace is spread to the society and this will build a society that helps others out. Now, it might sound like a fairy tale, right? But where's the proof that society always has to be competitive, dirty, and scandalous? We can make a society that's peaceful like a fairy tale through these organ donations. And secondly, about the recipients. Now, I don't think I have to talk about it anyway. They get to be saved. These human life gets to be saved, and that's enough. And also it promotes equality because in status quo, an opt-in system, only organs that are available is in the black market, such as the kidney village and the organ theft. Now the only privileged ones, ones that are so rich to afford these expensive black market organs can do it. But if we adopt this opt-out system, this will promote equality between rich and the poor. And thirdly, about the nation sends out a message that we are thinking about these human lives, not just human dignity they're talking about. And these nations will actually solve these problems of organ donation. And thank you for listening.
Invite the second speaker of the opposition to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, how can the proposition dare to come up and say that the government has a right to tell dead people that they don't have the right to own the organ that they owned, that supported them for their whole life? How dare does the proposition side say that the government has a right to control to have the organs of the people dead, of the dead people, and even when they are alive, because they are calling for a mandation. And we believe that they're completely being too idealistic, and they're not being realistic. They said that this incentive for the donors of organs is to create a happy and peaceful society. Yes, this is great. However, ladies and gentlemen, if this is a natural incentive, why are we mandating it in the first place? And secondly, in the status quo, why are we seeing a lack of organ donors? The proposition themselves admitted that the status quo has a lack of organ donors, and therefore this is contradictory logic. And we'll tell you why the people are not donating these organs with just the incentives of creating a happy society. I'll tell you why. We all have family members, right? I know these three have perfectly fine family members. And if one of them die, and your family is in deep grief, and suddenly a government official comes, and they take out the eyeballs first, they cut open the family member's stomach, take out the liver, take out the intestines, take out the heart, to use it to save some stranger that you don't know. You will oppose this. You will strongly oppose it because you have love for your family members, and you respect their bodily integrity and dignity.
Yes, sir.
This is why we believe that creating a happy society is not an incentive. Also, they talked about this England, the example of England, how 90% of people propose this organ donation. That is because, as I explained, that is because they have a good incentive. But the incentive of creating a happy society that the proposition is suggesting today is too ideological and not realistic.
So you're saying you shouldn't be proud of the fact that your dad saved 8 people?
Ladies and gentlemen, we also value lives. However, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that when your dad passes away, we believe that the government has no right to tell you and your father's corpse that he does not have the right to own the organs he used to own for 80-something years before. And we want the proposition to prove to us how bodily integrity and the dignity of these people will magically disappear after death, so that the government could suddenly come in and take away these organs. now let me move on to the argument of my two arguments. Firstly, inefficiency, and secondly, counterproductivity. The argument of inefficiency basically means that if we implement this policy, even if we will see great lack in organs, and we will see this policy failing due to inefficiency. What this means is that among many deaths are accidental where the organs cannot be used. And according to their policy of opt-out policy, all the people who do not want to donate their organs just because, even if it's the reason for just because they don't want to, can opt out. So therefore, the people who are left with really the mandated obligation to donate their organs are people who did not get the chance to oppose this opt-out policy, which are, in other words, people who died from sudden accidents. And we suggest that many people who died from sudden accidents, their organs cannot be used. And this will show that the policy is ineffective. And also, we do not have a safe, a good enough system to transport these organs to the nearest hospitals. In order to be for a fresh eye to be donated, it has to be donated within 15 minutes. It has to go to the hospital within 15 minutes. And we believe that the transportation system is not as developed. Moving on to the argument of counterproductivity. We will rather see a rise in need of organs because it'll give a wrong idea to our citizens. I have two subpoints. Firstly, people will become irresponsible of their health because if they want organ donation, these people can just because of the fact that they can get organs whenever they want, ladies and gentlemen, these people will become irresponsible of their health. These people will start smoking, drinking to exceed the limit. And we will see from here that this is not a society we want to promote. And also, it deters and hurts the development of medical science. This is because of the fact that the government, if as they suggest, that organs, we do not see anymore the lack of organs, then we will not feel the need anymore to develop medical science to form artificial organs, which will help us in the long run. And therefore, because of all these reasons, we strongly and proudly beg to oppose.
Okay, now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the proposition.
Can I start? Ladies and gentlemen, the opponent's team today come to the podium and said, "How dare you?" Now, I'm going to ask them a question. How dare you? How dare the opposition leave the thousands of people who are in desperate need of organ donors? We ask that question. Now, before I go on to the main two classes for today's debate, let me rebut some of the ridiculous points made by the opponent team. So first, they have said that, well, people will start to be irresponsible for their own health because, we have organ donors that are waiting for us if we have something that happens to us. Now, really, I asked every person sitting in this room, do you want to risk the surgery? Do you want to risk changing your organs with another person? Do you really think you'll become any more irresponsible? We see this as ridiculous. Now, also, they have said that if we start mandating organs, then other medical science will not develop. Now, this is also ridiculous. Just because you're developing organs does not mean that we're not developing anything else, are we? This is just a branch of science that we're trying to mandate as opt-out system here. So, pointing these two very ridiculous points out, let me move on into the clashes of today's debate. The first clash was, what is the role of the government? And the second clash was the outcome of this opt-out system. Now, for the role of the government, the opposition here seems to believe that human dignity is more important than saving lives. We have told you that only 2% of those who are in desperate need of organ donors are saved. Why? Because of the lack of organs. Now, they seem to believe that just because we change this to an opt-out system will not change anything, will not change the fact that there will be there will be more organs. Yes, yes.
Do you think that for human health, the alcohol and cigarettes should be banned also?
I think this is one of the irrelevant points made by the opposition. Now, banning alcohol is okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, think about the necessity, these people who are in desperate need, and think about those who are, well, already dead. Who needs the organs more? I really want to ask you this question. Do the dead people know it more? Well, they're already dead. The organs are dying. They're going to rot, okay? They're going to turn into dust. Now, compare that to where it can be reused so that people can actually save lives. No, thank you, sir. So, and the opposition here is being very irresponsible. So they're saying that we don't want the opt-out system, but what are they trying to say? What else can the government do? Are they saying that it's okay for people to die because human dignity is important? We see that as very irresponsible. No, thank you, sir. Now, to the second point, for the outcome. Now, we have told you about the benefits. Now, they seem to be very confused about the opt-out system. We believe that it will be improved by opt-out system compared to the opt-in system. Let me explain why. For the opt-in system, if you donate organs, then you are the exception. However, if you change it into an opt-out system, then if you do not donate your organs, then you're the exception. Now, the majority of people do not want to be in the exception unless they have great passion to be in that exception. And this is why we are saying okay to those who are, well, religious, who have strong belief that they should not give their organs to people. And this is why we make it an opt-out system to make, no thank you, sirs, to give them a chance to say no. However, because the majority says it's okay to give out, but they don't want to go through the stress of going through, for example, going to the government and saying, yes, I want to donate, because that takes a lot of time and effort, because they don't want to do that. This is why we have such low, donated organs. We have told you about the case in Britain. 90% of citizens say, okay, they're willing to give their organs, but only the 25% of them give the organs because they do not bother to do that. And we have also, as benefits, given you the cycle. For example, I'm the one who were able to live because somebody else had given an organ to me. Now, what am I going to do? No, thank you, sir. I got an organ and I lived. Of course, I should donate also. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about reusing that organ that I got from another person. We have other organs such as the kidneys, the lungs, the hearts, etc., etc. So you can give these organs and promote the overall peace, the overall equality, ladies and gentlemen. Now, and they've also had a problem about the government suddenly breaking into a funeral and then taking away the corpse so that they can take the organs, ladies and gentlemen. But do you really think that the government is going to do that? No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to break into a funeral and say, hey, I'm going to take the corpse because we're in need. No, we're not going to do that. Before there's a funeral, you go through a medical service to see the reason you died, to see if you had died. And through that medical process, we can take the organs, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not going to break into a funeral as the opposition seems to believe.
We have also told you about the black market, saying because of the lack of organs. The problem is the lack of organs, ladies and gentlemen, that the opt-out system can change. We have told you about theft, these murders that are where the fundamental cause is the lack of organs because it is so costly. We have told you about rich and poor discrimination because it's only the rich that can take action because, well, obviously they're rich, they are able to pay for that organ they're desperately in need. But how about the poor? We want to save the poor also, and this is why we say the opt-out system is the way to go. Thank you.
I'll call upon the third speaker of the opposition to the podium.
Now, I want everybody to wake up and to stretch themselves because I'm going to talk about really important things that have been dealt throughout the issue. And first of all, ladies and gentlemen, the government side, the proposition side, tried to misrepresent the opposition because from the very beginning, what we were claiming for is that the government's role is to save lives, that it is important, but we are saying that the method that they are taking is not going to save anyone's life, but rather it is going to harm science. It is going to harm rights and dignity, and that is why we are totally opposing the policy that the government side is proposing today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the debate, I have found 3 clashes that will wrap up the debate and why that will prove that the opposition side has taken the debate home. Now, the first clash I have found is about the role of the government. The second clash I found is about the rights and dignity of people. And the third clash I found is about the effectiveness of the policy. And this is going to deal with the issue, will the opt-out policy save more lives and health? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me go on to my first clash. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today the role of the government of the opposition side was about long-term benefits and protecting human rights and dignity. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that many adjudicators here heard about this, but once more, please. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this deals with the issue of social contract, and since the government is given power by the citizens, the government needs to be loyal to the citizens.
Exactly,
And what does the citizens want? It is saving lives and protecting rights. And also, the citizens also want long-term benefits. And let me give an example. Let's say that there's a government who claims, oh, we are going to reduce tax. Well, ladies and gentlemen, some might be, yay, but some people won't. Why is that? Because they think their children, their grandsons are not going to get the benefits that are going to, all these kind of public welfare that they are going to get. And that is the reason why many people actually, in fact, pursue long-term benefits. However, on the other side, what is the role of the government of the proposition?
Point,
ladies
sir.
and gentlemen, they were already talking about short-term benefits, about organ donation, that organ donation is going to save lives. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we see that this is very flawed because, first of all, it's not effective and that it does not provide any rights, which I am going to provide in my 2 classes. And also, ladies and gentlemen, they were talking about how saving life is so important, how saving life should be the first priority. Then, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you ban alcohol? Why don't you ban cigarettes, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, as a result, the government does not know what kind of range they should restrict. They don't know until when they should restrict, ladies and gentlemen. And as a result, what we see in the proposition is a government of a North Korea. They're going to control everything. They're going to control every kind of thing. Alcohol, cigarettes, or maybe bungee jumping, or maybe playing soccer, or maybe
Point,
even
sir.
walking because you might tip off from a rock, ladies and gentlemen. So we say that the role of the government, that the proposition is proposing is very, very bad, and that it is like we are debating with the North Korean government right here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me go on to the second clash. Okay.
Well then, sir, please explain another policy that can save these people in waiting list.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to let them do it. Why do we have to force it, ladies and gentlemen? Because the policy that they have been providing does not work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now let me go on to the dignity and the rights of people, whether it will be protected. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me divide it into 2 parts, when the people are dead and when the people are not dead. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what will the families feel? Now, they will be talking about like, how families are not going to feel grief and that they're going to feel pride or so on. But ladies and gentlemen, if they are calling for mandate, ladies and gentlemen, it's not doing for their own will. It's like doing because of the government, ladies and gentlemen. And the parents, the people are not going to feel good about this. And they are going to feel sad. And also, ladies and gentlemen, when they have an opt-out policy, they need to immediately get the organs out in order to be efficient, ladies and gentlemen. Stop, Eric King. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if they see their mothers and their father being taken their eyeballs, their organs, their kidneys, ladies and gentlemen, how would they feel? We say that the government proposition we hear, the North Korean government, is not taking account of all these kind of abstract ideals that make people unite people or love people, ladies and gentlemen. We see that they are very, very bad. Now, let me talk about the second point about when people are not there. Ladies and gentlemen, putting mandate means it is calling for ownership before the person exists. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have been keep on saying, ladies and gentlemen. This is about bodily integrity. So, ladies and gentlemen, the government is saying that human beings are properties of government that they can use for the benefit that they want, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, as you see, we are facing North Korean government. So we say what the government, the benefits, the rights, and all these kind of things that they want to provide does not fit in a democratic society, and also it is very harmful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me go on to my third class about effectiveness. Which policy will save more lives? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, their policy in the very first place had very many fallacies. First of all, they were talking about opt-out policies and how it will work. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they said the reason why they are putting exceptions is because there might be people that goes against their religious views. Ladies and gentlemen, then they should at least keep the other people that does not have any religious reasons to donate their organs. And if they want those things to happen, they need advantages for people who donate organs and disadvantages for people who do not donate organs. But if there is no incentives, if there's no disadvantages, ladies and gentlemen, who will want to donate their organs? We see that there is no incentive for them to, for the citizens to do so, and they're just living in a utopia that even does not exist in the current status, in the real society. And they were talking about black market. Well, we understand how harmful black market is, but ladies and gentlemen, what is the link between being a black market? They did not prove why banning organ donation is going, not mandating organ donation is going to lead to black market. And also, ladies and gentlemen, about the inefficiency. There are not many organs in the current status quo, so we say that giving organs won't work. And even though there are, we say that the policy that they are proposing does not have the efficient way to deliver these organs. And we say that this is very bad. And they talked about how they are going to make it secretly. Then, ladies and gentlemen, this is going against the right to be informed. And we say that the government, that the proposition's government is also another North Korea. And also, ladies and gentlemen, people will be irresponsible. And the reason why they say that people are not irresponsible is that you guys are not irresponsible. That is because we do not have organ donation. It is because we do not mandate organ donations. And if we mandate organ donations, we say that people will become irresponsible. And also, it will deter the science that are going to lead to more development of medical science, which is going to benefit our society. So we are very proud to oppose to this motion. Thank you.
Now, we'll hear the reply from the opposition first.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's make one thing clear before we start. This is not a utopia. This is not a utopia. This is a realistic society where people live, where people pursue not abstract benefits, as they were saying about how they can be proud of, but actually, sadly, people actually pursue what they can get, such as the encouragement they were talking about for as an example, but didn't put in their policy exactly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, it's not an idealistic society where people are all happy, are so encouraged to give their organs to strangers or random people. And this can be just seen by the fact that they admitted that there is a problem in the status quo, that people are not giving the organs to, or donating the organs to the government. Ladies and gentlemen, they might say here, here, and thank you, because, ladies and gentlemen, they just proven the fact that even though there might be pride they can gain, even though they might be happy about their father or mother, but it's not happening in the real society, ladies and gentlemen, because as they just proven by the here and the whole speech they were talking about, we could just simply see that the current status quo is not idealistic as they are talking right now. And to clear out the debate, I'm going to talk about why our team has won this whole debate. Now, for the government's role, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the government side is totally neglecting the citizens or not respecting the citizens, because just quoting the last statement the opposition government came up with, ladies and gentlemen, they said that, well then, while we're preparing for a funeral, we can actually cut the body and take out the organs and then put it back or present it or package it back so that nobody can know. Ladies and gentlemen, what kind of government is this? Now, this government is now, as our opposition whip I've just stated, fooling the citizens and then now we don't see any rights of citizens protected in this case. Now, second point about what provides more rights. As we have stated continuously, ladies and gentlemen, this goes against human dignity. This goes against human right to even have his organ, or even the rights of the families to not regret, but cry out and be sad. Because, as they said, they're going to come in, take the body, and go out, and now someday maybe they're going to give the body back for a funeral. But ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the period of time itself is when they suffer. And it's the same thing. What difference does it give as, I don't know, cutting the body into half in front of the family or in the back of the family where they cannot see? And for the third of the efficiency of the policy, as we said, ladies and gentlemen, there are not a lot of organs that we can actually use. If it's too old, we cannot use it. As he said, if we are died of accidents and we accidentally opt out in this case, well, we cannot use this organ because it's all crushed. We cannot use it because it's too old. And even if they shame about it, it's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. They cannot actually shame about a fact, and that's also proving themselves that they are too idealistic. And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are the ones realistic in the debate. They're too idealistic, pursuing utopia where nothing can be protected in this case. Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear the reply from the proposition.
Yes, organs may be pretty, ladies and gentlemen, but worms get snuggle in your litty pretty organs after death. And we do not want that, do we? Because we want to make nothing, which is death, out of something, which is life, ladies and gentlemen. We want to make these helpful organs to save these people in the waiting list who are suffering, who are facing death because of lack of organ donation. And that is what the proposition case has been clearly telling you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about this debate with three main values that we have to fulfill. First, necessity. Second, benefits. And lastly, the right. Necessity, ladies and gentlemen, 2% is a low percentage to save 18,000 people who are suffering and waiting death for the consequences of lack of organ donation. 2%, ladies and gentlemen. And did the government really think that there is a necessity of change of the current system in order to improve this rate 2% to a much more higher number? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Because meaning now government should look at the need to change the system. Opt-out system, ladies and gentlemen, if you just by you staying here, living, and thinking that I don't really care about organ donation, just by doing that, and just by not stepping up to the government and saying that I don't want my organs to be donated, well, ladies and gentlemen, you suddenly become an organ donor, which is a very positive thing, because many people will begin to donate their organs because of this opt-out system. This is what we call incentive opposition. Now, let's talk about benefits. Now, black markets and organ theft can be reduced. First benefit we gain from the opt-out system. Second, donor starts the society of warmth, ladies and gentlemen. Recipients receive new life by these organs. That's another benefit we can get from organ donation and opt-out system, allowing more lives to be saved, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what the government should fight for. Benefit we fight for is improving the status quo, improving the human life, and that is what we call human dignity, ladies and gentlemen. Now, last value is about the right. We had talked about the eminence domain, how government can take your possession if that is for the better value. Government having the right to protect the unprivileged one, ladies and gentlemen, who are not wealthy enough to pay through the high cost through black market. Thus, ladies and gentlemen, this is a time when we need a strong and firm policy from the government, because that is a government right, that is a government responsibility, and that is the government's duty. Thus, ladies and gentlemen, the opposition not having any other alternative to save these people in waiting lists, waiting to die, facing death, we, the proposition, strongly believe that organ donation should be the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the final, grand final of the YTN New House Junior Youth English Debate Championship. Now, two teams, please cross the floor and shake hands. Please give them a big round of applause.